It's the final push in the Palmetto State, and the race for the Republican nomination is neck and neck. And what a night last night. And right now, joining me with his take on the debate in South Carolina is PJ Media CEO Roger L. Simon. Roger?
Hey, this is Roger Simon. I'm here at the TD Ameritrade Center here in Charleston, where the events of the SRLC are continuing after the debate last night. Now, speaking of the debate, I was in the media center, and it is devolving into more of a reality show than ever. It is the Real Housewives of South Carolina, the Real Housewives of Florida coming up next. And they have a perfect four-man group there. They've got Randy Newt with his one-liners. They've got stodgy old Mitt. They've got old loony Ron. And they got Rick Santorum, the family values scold. It's a perfect foursome. And it'll go on and on and on. And meanwhile, here at the convention, serious things are being talked about, not the same issues again and again. And I'll give you a little look here because they're discussing voting in the United States with people from PJ Media on both sides of a debate, Fred Thompson and Hans von Spakowski, but nobody's there because it's a serious thing. See what I mean? Nobody's home. What America wants is a reality show. That's the applause of about 15 people. Last night, millions were watching. Well, anyway, I'll go back to Alexis in L.A.
Well, thank you so much, Roger. And right now we go to Bryan Preston with the PJ Tatler, who's also in the ground in South Carolina. And Bryan, what did you think of that debate last night and leading off with that question about Newt's ex-wife? I mean, it was like John King just played right into Newt's hands.
Yeah, Alexis, he absolutely did. I mean, John King served up a meatball pitch, and Newt Gingrich slapped it out of the park. And I have to tell you, I was in the hotel bar watching the debate last night, and I've never seen anything like this. You know, you see people stand up and cheer when the astronauts land on the moon. You see people stand up and cheer for Super Bowls and the NBA Finals. You don't see people stand up and cheer for debates. But in the first 5 minutes of that debate in the hotel bar, when Newt Gingrich went straight at John King and straight at the media with King as the proxy, people jumped off their stools. They jumped on their feet. They clapped. They cheered. It was an amazing scene. I've never seen anything like it. And I think those 5 minutes gave Newt Gingrich the victory in that debate, no matter what happened later. I mean, Mitt Romney had a couple of gaffes later on that were pretty serious gaffes. Nobody's talking about those. Rick Santorum actually had a pretty strong night. Nobody's really talking about that. They're talking about those first 5 minutes and how decisive they were in that debate.
Yeah, I mean, he got 2 standing ovations there. I mean, I've never seen anything like it before. And like you said, it kind of just, I would hate to follow that up. But speaking about Mitt Romney's fumbles, I mean, Bryan, again, he fumbles the question about his tax returns. I mean, what is he thinking? Yeah. What is his staff doing to prepare him?
Well, it's very interesting watching Mitt Romney. His has been the most programmed campaign I think we've probably ever seen. And it's almost like they have every possible question with every possible answer on a spreadsheet. And Romney has spent the last 5 years memorizing those. And this tax question wasn't on the spreadsheet. And so it's hit him, and it's hit him in a way that he wasn't prepared for. And so he keeps stumbling over it. He had that brain freeze last night. He called his health care plan Romney Care. He really actually had the worst debate, I think, of the entire debate season, which is as long as the NFL regular season now. And it probably will cost him South Carolina, that coupled with the first 5 minutes of Newt's performance.
Well, I mean, you even just look at their demeanor on stage. And I mean, he didn't really have a good night Monday. You know, he loses Iowa in the week, now this tax return issue. And you could just see the other candidates are laughing, they're joking, but Mitt just looks like he's tightening up. I mean, how are voters in South Carolina perceiving him?
I think they're receiving him the way the rest of us are. I mean, I made an analogy in the bar last night when I was watching the debate that really resonated with a lot of folks there, which is that when you're looking at Mitt Romney answer a question, it's a lot like for folks that have the iPhone 4S, you know, Siri, when you ask Siri a question, you get this sort of robotic female voice in response. And Mitt Romney is sort of the male counterpart to Siri. You ask him a question and you get this very programmed response, and it's not always relevant to what you ask. And we're seeing that with this tax question and some other areas too. And yeah, he's had a very bad week. I don't think it's decisive. He still has Florida coming up where he's still way ahead. He's pouring lots of money in. So there's no question he's still in this race. And of course, South Carolina hasn't voted yet. But it's been a bad week, and it could finish in a really bad way for him on Saturday.
Now, you talked a bit about the other candidates, and I thought Rick Santorum had a great debate, but, you know, he's just overshadowed by Newt and, you know, of course, Mitt making that mistake. How is Rick Santorum doing in that state, and do you think that there's maybe time for him to make a final surge?
Well, Santorum has still been sitting in third and fourth in all the polls, and that doesn't seem to be changing, mainly because no one's really talking about him. I agree with you, Alexis. I think his debate performance last night was one of the best he's had. You know, the problem he's had in earlier debates is that his information has been strong and he's been steady, but he has a kind of sour demeanor. And he had that sour demeanor again in Monday's debate on Fox, but last night he was back to the sunnier version of Rick Santorum. So he did have a good debate, but I don't see it changing a whole lot because the entire vibe right now is Newt Gingrich and what he did to John King.
Yeah, Bryan, what a difference a day makes. I mean, just yesterday, Rick Perry was still in the race. Mitt Romney had won Iowa, and you hadn't heard about open marriage yet. What are you thinking the next 24 hours has in store for us?
Well, in the next 24 hours, the open marriage stuff is going to sink in a little bit. There was a Triple P poll out this morning that had Newt Gingrich in the lead, but also it showed that the information had not sunk in about this open marriage stuff yet. That is sinking in today. So if there is a decisive day, it will be today as folks figure that out and sift through it and decide what it means to them.
Well, Bryan, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck out there.
Thank you, Alexis. Good to be here.
And stay tuned for more of our election coverage right here on PJ TV. I'm Alexis Garcia. Thanks for watching.